You ever have an absolutely nightmarish experience when you're either building or changing something in your PC? Or
Ooh.
is it just me? Does it ever
No,
go...
I've actually. It's never. I wouldn't call it nightmarish when it's in my own PC. As someone who helps other people a lot, when something goes wrong when I'm doing that, that's my worst nightmare.
Yeah, so I was doing something extremely simple that turned into this whole conundrum. So I was just installing a new M2 SSD in my slot number 2, right?
Yeah.
Should be completely straightforward.
Except you might have to take the GPU out to do that.
Well, I didn't even have to do that.
Really?
My issue came when I was like, okay, I don't have an M2 screw. I don't know where I put it. I was just like, it'll be okay. I'll just, you know what? This old PS5, I got a PS5 Pro now. No use for this PS5. I'll just take the M2 screw out from that and try to screw it in. Nope, didn't work. I was like, okay, I clearly need a different length screw. Oh, creative idea. My laptop screw seems to be roughly the same size, like for my laptop frame. Let me unscrew that and plug it in. Too long. And each time I tried this, right, I turned on my PC, would boot up and everything. I get the flashing yellow light indicating something was wrong, and I couldn't use the SSD, right? So the SSD was in place, but the connection was not firm or whatever, so it didn't like it. So this process went on for hours. I tried everything to MacGyver a screw that I could use for my new M2 SSD, and I just could not do it. And I had to be like, okay, I give up. I'm gonna contact my motherboard manufacturer and try to get a new one shipped to me. But that was an intensely frustrating.
A new M2 screw?
Yeah.
Can you not just buy them at like Lowe's?
So they're different, right? So like the M2 screw slot or the M2 screw I used like for my PS5 did not fit here.
Yeah.
So I don't think there's like a one size fit all kind of deal.
But I would think you could find like you have one for your other slot. I would take that out and go to Lowe's and see what I could find. That would have been my first guess.
Yeah, that might be don't
you still haven't fixed this?
No, I was just like, I'm done with this, and then I didn't touch this again. And it's just like an extra M2 SSD, right? It's not like my main SSD or anything, so it's nothing critical. But I was just like, it'd be nice to have the extra storage, especially considering how huge games are nowadays. An extra 2 terabytes of storage would go a long way. But
we've been playing Call of Duty. You got to be able to.
Yeah. Last was not meant to be. And it just I don't know. It's the duality of building your own PC. It can be intensely rewarding and frustrating at times.
When it goes wrong, it is it's really bad. I almost killed myself building a PC one time.
Oh, yeah.
No,
That's
I probably didn't
I was...
almost kill myself, but you're supposed to, when you unpackage electronics, do it in a well-ventilated room. And I was building a PC in high school, and I was like, man, I have a really bad headache right now.
Oh, man. Well,
let that one sit overnight.
So moral of the story, if you're going to build your own PC, have a lot of patience, because things will end up going sideways.
And keep the screws.
Yeah, and keep your screws. I don't know what possessed me to get rid of all of that. I was just like, this is all extra crap that I'll never need, and I probably put it somewhere or threw it away. I can't imagine I threw it away, but I put it somewhere where I have not been able to find it. I turned my apartment upside down looking for that box.
Yeah, I don't know where my motherboard box is right now. So once you move, it's usually you have it until you move, but we both moved since we built our PCs.
Yeah, I moved, and now it's gone. So
it's in the ether.
Yeah, one day I'll install that M2 SSD. Hey, and welcome back to Game Talk. I'm your host, Amir. Today I'm joined by Connor.
Hey, guys.
And it's only Connor this time. Mike is busy. And thank you, Connor, for hosting last week when I was busy.
Oh, I nailed it, too.
Yeah, you nailed it. We all tend to be busy during the holiday season. But this is coming a few days now after the Game Awards 10th anniversary. And what a show it was.
Best one they've ever done by a lot.
Yeah, I thought this was the best one so far. And I really got to commend Jeff Keighley. I thought this was a masterclass in pacing and balancing, right? Like, he balanced the announcements with the awards just so. He very classily acknowledged, I think, the state of the industry with all the layoffs and had a really powerful segment there addressing that.
The
So
Game Changer Award, I think it
yeah,
was. Yeah, that
I
was that was the thing. Like I was having a good time until then, but that was the moment that I was like, no, I can't meaningfully
very
complain
emotional.
about this. It was amazing.
yeah, it's so we'll talk about all that, but I just up front I wanted to say we have heavily criticized this show in the past, but credit where credit's due. This was an amazing show, and Jeff Keighley really delivered. So,
Yeah.
congrats. But yeah, so there's a lot to talk about. Like I said, not only were the awards great, but the announcements were out of this world too. This is on the level of some of the historically great E3 conferences, in my opinion. This is one of the best game showcases for announcements. So I know you're maybe
I think it
slightly
was pretty
disagreeing, Connor,
good. I
but-
don't know if I agree with it being like one of the greats because they were really. Well, we'll have to go through it because my memory's
Yeah.
not so great. So we'll get into it as we go.
Okay, but before we do that, let's just quickly go over the awards themselves, have a little discussion there, and then we can go into the announcements, which I think is the meat of this show.
I think some of my friends are going to really enjoy this episode because it's going to start off with me admitting that I was wrong like 10 times in a row.
Well, I think we were all wrong
Yeah.
in some respects, but correct in others. So let's start with Best Game Direction. Let's save Game of the Year for last.
Okay.
So Astrobot won Best Game Direction. That one, I think we toyed with the idea of it winning.
I think I gave Shadow of the Erdtree to
we also thought about Elden Ring, Shadow of the Erdtree, but funny enough, Shadow of the Erdtree won not one single award. So
Yeah. And I think
I
I said it was going to win every category it was in.
I don't know why. Like, why did they even nominate it?
don't know.
It's a little silly. Elden Ring already got all of its flowers last year, or
Yep.
sorry, in 2022.
Why
And
give it the smoke? Yeah.
yeah, why even do this? But whatever. Okay, so Astrobot, Best Game Direction, Best Narrative, Metaphor ReFantasio. Very glad to see that. I
I think we
love
called
that
that
game.
one. Yeah. I think it's deserved for sure, even though I've only played a morsel of it.
Yeah, I think we made an argument. Did we make the argument for Hellblade? No, that was for something else.
Might have said Final Fantasy, but that would have
Yeah.
just been us, like, as people that don't know or understand Final Fantasy.
Yeah.
And it keeps winning.
But having
things.
played Metaphor and really liking that game, I was pleased to see it win Best Narrative, and it won a few other categories too. Best Art Direction winner was Metaphor ReFantasio.
That one surprised
again,
me a little bit.
That did surprise me a little bit. We had this discussion where I do think it has really good art direction, but the technical execution of the art direction is poor.
Yeah.
Um,
That's true of Elden
but-
Ring as well.
yeah, but and we actually pegged Elden Ring for winning this one. Remember when we saw that
We started talking
screenshot?
about that blue
And we were
grass,
reminded of the insane art
the
direction of the
cerulean
DLC.
coast, and yeah.
But yeah, I'm happy to see Metaphor win this as well. I think Metaphor deserves all of its accolades.
Yeah.
Best score music, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, not a surprise at all.
No.
The Final Fantasy VII score is historic. Even though none of us here are really Final Fantasy fans, I think it's easy to recognize that.
Yeah.
I was secretly pulling for either Metaphor or Stellar Blade here, but not surprised at all. Best audio design, we call this one Senua's Saga Hellblade 2.
Yep.
Again,
It was going to
the
win
one-
anything.
Yeah, the one thing this game absolutely nails, so no surprise there. Also, best performance, Melina Jurgens for Senua's Saga Hellblade 2. And gosh, who presented that award
That was
again?
Harrison Ford.
This was the Harrison Ford one. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh. When the curtain rose and Harrison Ford was standing there, I just sort of like I was like
And he
I
called her
rolled my
Melinda.
eyes. I was just
But
like
he's old, he
he
can't read, you know. His eyes don't work.
100% does not want to be here. He got
No.
paid an enormous sum of money and he's here.
No, and they
But,
keep
like-
making him go do stuff, and like he hates it. He's mean to the nerds.
Yeah, he's mean about it. I mean, like, and honestly, good on him. He's kind of earned it, I guess. But like,
He's been a
You-
little overly mean a few times.
the people. But what I'm trying to say is, you don't have to keep courting Harrison Ford, right? Like, he's had his time. He's well respected. It's
Yeah.
fine.
Yeah.
Stop making him do things he doesn't really want to do. But yeah, I just thought that was kind of funny. Anyways, innovation and accessibility. Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown won, which is cool.
I was
I
happy
just
to see
don't
this get
know-
something. I don't know what they did.
what it did. Yeah.
I do know what Ubisoft did, which was have this team make a highly critically acclaimed game, like the most critically acclaimed game Ubisoft has made in years, and then they disbanded the entire team.
Gotta love it.
Yep.
Yeah.
I don't think they were all laid off. I'm not sure of that, but this team does not exist in that state anymore. They're all.
It must have not made the dollars.
Yep. Hate to see it, because I hear this game's amazing. But
I hear it's very good. Yeah. Games for Impact, Neva was the winner.
I was really surprised by that. It's almost never a game I've heard of.
Yeah. I haven't played Neva, but it looks very pretty and it looks interesting. That's the most I can say for that.
If it's anything like their last game, that's all it is.
Okay.
I'm a bit of a Grease hater, but...
Best ongoing game. I was pleasantly surprised to see this. Helldivers 2 took home the win here, and it was up against some pretty good competition, right? Final Fantasy XIV almost always wins this award, year after year after year. So for Helldivers 2 to come out and clutch this,
and they brought the heat, as we'll talk about later. But they brought the heat for this award show.
It was cool to see. Yes, we'll talk about that. I also love how they had the actual
John Helldiver.
Yeah, they had and he was completely in costume, in character. That was fantastic.
That was awesome.
I love that. Yeah, very fun to see.
For Super Earth.
Best community support, Baldur's Gate 3 won. No surprise there. Best indie game, Balatro. Best debut indie game, Balatro.
I was surprised by. I mean, I guess not surprised. I still think
best mobile game, Balatro. Yeah.
Yeah, I wanted Animal Well to get one of these.
I did want Animal Well to get one of these because, I mean, Animal Well is a stunning game, and I mean, obviously so is Balatro, but I think both should have been acknowledged in some respect.
Yeah.
Especially as individual developers, that's just such a Herculean task that the two of them accomplished.
Balatro is just unbeatable, though. It's really good.
I'm more just surprised and I guess glad to see that it's not just me and I guess my circle. Like, Balatro is... Like, it's caught the
amazing.
Public's eye.
It's a Tetris level game. It's a game that I feel like I could show anybody and they're going to love it.
Yeah. And it certainly seems to be resonating like that with everyone. Yeah, sad to see Animal Well walk away with nothing, but also happy to see Balatro.
The millions of dollars.
Right, nothing but like a perfectly enriched life for both Dunkey and what's his name? The developer?
Don't remember.
You don't remember? Yeah, shoot. Okay, but he's doing well for himself. I did see him on the cam, right? Like they do the kind of like Emmy camera. Yeah, no, he was sitting right beside Dunkey.
Okay,
and like when they called Balatro, they both sort of just looked at each other and smiled and nodded. It was like,
yeah,
I mean, they understand.
Going in that it was like
it was between those two.
Yeah, there are a lot of other years Animal Well could win.
Best VR AR game. Batman Arkham Shadow, no surprise there. I'm kind of surprised. Well, actually, I'm kind of surprised.
Asgard's Wrath 2, I just don't think it got as many players. I don't think it.
But yeah, everyone plays Batman, right?
The Batman IP, and
if you own VR titles, if you own the VR hardware, you've probably played Batman.
Well, the other step is like Asgard's Wrath 2 was a pack-in on a $500 headset, but then they released the MetaQuest 3S, a $300 headset, and the pack-in was Batman. So a lot of people got in a lot cheaper to play this. There's a recency bias. Yeah. Asgard's Wrath came out very late last year, I think, or early this year. I don't remember.
Mm-hmm. I think it was late last year. I think
so, because I thought I played it late last year.
Yeah.
That's hazy.
But either way, very good game won this award.
Games,
yeah. Best action game, Black Myth Wukong won this.
Yep. You
probably deserved. Though I will say, have you seen some of this post-mortem kind of whining from the Black Myth Wukong director?
I saw like some stuff about it. I couldn't tell if it was like ironic or not.
I don't think it is. So
Black Myth Wukong was never going to win Game of the Year.
Yeah, in no reality was it going to win Game of the Year, but like the director came on Twitter, he was just like, "Oh, I don't know why he showed up if I didn't win. Like I already wrote my acceptance."
You won Best Action Game against Helldivers 2.
He said he wrote his Game of the Year acceptance speech 2 years ago, and I was like, "All right, buddy,
what a clown! What an actual
let's calm
clown.
Down."
That's crazy."
And apparently,
Billy Basso, that was his name. That Billy Basso is the one who deserved to
Billy
do that.
Basso, yes. But apparently, you have like super hardcore Chinese fanboys of Black Myth Wukong review bombing Baldur's Gate 3 now.
Why Baldur's
on
Gate
Steam?
3?
Because Sven, the game director for Baldur's Gate 3, presented Game of the Year for this year. It's so silly and brain dead. I don't get it at all. And it's just kind of clownish behavior, and it's kind of disappointing to see.
This Baldur's Gate 3's already made its money. It doesn't need those reviews anymore.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
Also, it's
you're
like
not accomplishing
a
anything.
well-renowned, goated game.
Yeah, so Black Myth Wukong, you're a good game, and that should be enough. Stop your whining. Grow up.
For sure.
Okay. Best action adventure game winner Astrobot. Very strange category, like we mentioned
Horrible
before.
category, yeah.
But what do you do? I don't know. Astrobot
Crazy to see
probably
a Zelda
deserved to
game
win.
walk away with nothing. But Echoes
Yeah.
of Wisdom is just kind of, it's fine. It's
no Breath of the Wild.
certainly not.
Best RPG winner Metaphor Refantasio.
No
awesome to see
surprises,
this.
yeah.
Love that. I'm actually quite surprised Rebirth did not win this. I totally expected them to. But Metaphor took it over Rebirth for best RPG.
Atlas has
And
the sauce, dude.
love to see it. Yeah, Atlas. They're goated. Best fighting game, Tekken 8. No
Robbed.
surprise there.
Robbed.
But Connor and I were hoping, praying, willing Dragon Ball to just come out.
What's
and,
crazy is Sparking Zero didn't get fighting. It should have got best action. It should have been like
I feel you.
there are other categories it deserved.
Yeah. So
Such a good game.
it's I understand, traditional fighting game. I guess it's cool that Sparking Zero was even nominated. Like, it's not really like the other games in this list. I guess Multiverses is also kind of a weird entry here, but
Dude, I heard, just an aside, I heard Sparking Zero has split screen on all the maps now. They
yeah,
updated it. I
new
didn't know
patch
that.
came out. Huge patch. A lot of quality of life changes. Camera is closer. Split screen on all the maps. Love that. Yeah.
Huge. I
All
gotta
right.
revisit it.
Yeah, me too. Best family game, Astrobot. No surprise there.
Yeah.
Best sim strategy game, Frostpunk 2.
That was my guess, and it was just
Yeah,
a
that was our
guess.
guess. Yeah. Best sports racing game, EA Sports FC 25. Also, I think we guessed that.
We had no idea on this one. Yeah.
Best multiplayer game, Helldivers 2.
I think we said
Awesome
that.
to see that. Yeah. I think
Earned.
this one was really kind of a match between Helldivers and Call of Duty. And Helldivers took it. So I think a lot of people felt the same way we did, where, like, while yes, this is the best Call of Duty in many, many years, that experience of Helldivers 2 when it launched was just kind of unmatched. Having that frantic chaos with your friends.
Yeah.
Glad to see it. Best adaptation, Fallout won this.
This was raw.
over Arcane.
I'm going to say something controversial here. This
Yeah.
was pure live action bias. If Fallout hadn't been here, Knuckles would have won it. This was pure
think so?
live action bias. Yeah, they just dismissed Arcane for being animated.
Wait,
I strongly
Knuckles is live action?
Yeah, it's like the Sonic.
It is?
like the
Okay,
Sonic
yeah,
movie.
that's true. The Sonic movie is live action with CG hedgehogs and whatnot.
Yeah, I mean it's not. It's as live action as like the live
Yeah.
action Lion King, but
Yeah, I don't know. It's
because Arcane deserved this. Arcane is probably 5 times better than Fallout. Like it's not even close.
yeah, Arcane is exceptional. I'm 6 episodes deep into season 2, and I mean, I agree with you. I think it is definitely better than Fallout.
That's not a dunk on Fallout, by the way. Fallout is an extremely
Fallout's
good show.
an extremely good show.
Arcane
is just
on
something
another level.
Arcane is like a generationally special show.
Yeah.
But yeah, Fallout won this. Fallout really, I mean, it really took the world by storm in terms of popularity.
But
I think it became Amazon's most streamed show ever. So, not surprised. I thought this could be a possibility, but I do think Arcane was robbed a little bit.
you see this all the time in the Oscars when they do the best animated movie category, and it's usually like a children's movie because it's the only one that the Academy watched because they watched it with their kids. They refuse to watch anything animated. And they're like vocal about it. It's not even a secret. And I'm confident that's what this was. And it sucks to see.
We will never know. Most anticipated game, Grand Theft Auto 6. What a shock.
Surprise.
And I don't know if we need... Do we need to go through the rest of these?
No, we
don't know.
gotta point out that we were right about esports athlete was Faker and esports team was T1.
I mean, doesn't that happen every year? I don't
Every
know.
single year.
Okay. But the final award here, Game of the Year. So just as a reminder to everyone, the nominees were Astrobot, Balatro, Black Myth Wukong, Elden Ring, Shadow of the Erdtree, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, and Metaphor Refantasio. And Astrobot won Game of the Year, which is
It's huge.
which is great. I mean,
3D
Astrobot
platformer.
for a 3D platformer to win Game of the Year in 2024, I think is just exceptional. And it really, I think, sends a message that people still love this kind of game. And I'm happy to see it. Like, I played Astrobot. I went in our Discord, right? And I found a message from when Astrobot launched. And I screenshotted it where I said, I'm like 10 minutes into Astrobot and it is game of the year. And that ended up coming to pass.
Yeah.
It evokes joy on a level of something like a Super Mario Galaxy, where every little thing you do, everything you see, everything you interact with gives you a little spark of joy. And at the end of the day, that's what video games are all about, right? Happy to see Astrobot win this. And a very nice and gracious speech by the game director, who praised Nintendo, right? Like, even though he wasn't allowed to say the word Nintendo because the Sony assassins would get him, he danced around that and still
just talking about Mario.
Paid his respects to Nintendo, because without Mario there would be no
you're
Astrobot,
right. He didn't
obviously.
say Nintendo. He even said like a little gray box because he couldn't say a Nintendo Entertainment System.
No, but he still did it anyway, right? Like, they probably didn't even want him to do that. So he very, very great speech, class act all around, and congrats to Team Asobi and Astrobot. Okay, so with that out of the way, let's get into some of these announcements, because especially for me, I think this was one of the best Game Awards shows in years and years. I mean, I think the last time I was this enamored with announcements was something like 2016 or something.
Yeah.
So it's been a long time since an announcement show got me like this.
They did announce Monster Hunter Wilds last year.
But that's just one, right? We had several announcements on that level this year.
Can I real quick talk about what wasn't there before we get into the good stuff?
Yeah, let's do that.
I think a little sandwich will be better. No Valve console, no headset, no Half-Life 3. None of that's particularly surprising. There were a ton of rumors about it, but...
Well, especially leading up to the show, everyone and their mother was convinced Half-Life 3 would be the secret bomb drop.
Yeah, which is crazy. And
in hindsight now, it's just like, guys...
Yeah, come on.
We've been... Like, how many years do we have to keep learning this lesson?
Also, Valve doesn't do that. They've never done that. Valve announces stuff by releasing a video on a random Wednesday in, like, February. Like, there's no...
Yeah, so I don't know. I think the internet collectively worked itself into like a furor over, okay, this is happening. This is definitely happening, right? It's happening. And
it is going to happen. It was never going to happen at the Game Awards.
Yeah. So you still think there's going to be a Half-Life 3 specifically?
I think there's going to be a Half-Life that's going to come announced with the Valve console and the headset.
Okay.
I don't know if it'll be
Half-Life I think that's reasonable.
Yeah, I'm not that confident that it's going to be 3.
Yeah.
And no Monster Hunter trailer, which everybody thought we were going to get in the Monster Hunter community, because...
But we've gotten several of those at this point already, right? We have a release date, so there's not much more really to... I guess you could put new content in a trailer, but like all the wow factor's already kind of there, right? We already know...
Right, but we saw like 40 Fortnite trailers during this thing too, so...
Well, yeah. I mean, Epic paid... Because we saw like how much it costs to... put a trailer on this thing.
Capcom's putting that kind of money into Monster Hunter Wilds.
Capcom could do it, right?
That's why we were surprised, We didn't expect a whole lot of new stuff, just like a demo, which we're due for, and a trailer with some monsters we haven't seen. But
yeah,
because we still don't even know the in Pokemon terms, the box legendary. I forget what they call it in Monster Hunter. But we don't know that for Wilds yet. So
yeah, so there's still some Wilds news that'll drop at some point before launch, but was not here at the Game Awards. So the way I want to do this, Connor, like obviously I don't think I want to talk about every game, but like the games that stood out to us too.
Yeah.
We can go through those. So let's start with the very first game that was shown in the pre-show, Ninja Gaiden Ragebound, a new 2D pixel art Ninja Gaiden game. Like what?
Yeah, from the Blasphemous devs.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah, that's going to be awesome.
Ninja Gaiden has not been 2D since like the SNES era. It fully transitioned to 3D when the 3D consoles came out. So this is a huge return to, I guess, the good days.
Yeah, I don't know. Are the modern Ninja Gaidens good?
I don't know. I haven't played them, but obviously the original Ninja Gaidens storied There's some of the all-time classics,
and they're hard as nails too.
Oh, they're very difficult. Yeah. And this game, I mean, it looked beautiful. The art was gorgeous, like the pixel art in a modern age, right? That kind of style. But man, I'm excited to see this. Happy to see this.
You want to hear something insane?
Yeah.
One move away, the next game that was announced is a game about like packing a car to move. Maybe the most exciting announcement at the Game Awards for me. I love
that's
games
so
like
on
this.
brand for you.
I'm really excited for this game.
So yeah, so this is a FPS game about packing up and moving to a new home. So it reminds me kind of Unpacking, right?
Unpacking is like a go.
It's like the opposite of that.
I love Unpacking.
The prequel to Unpacking.
And I saw some hints that they're going to do something similar here, that there's going to be like a story being told by what you're doing. And I love that sort of thing. And I'm 100% going to be disappointed by this because it won't be as good as Unpacking, but I am looking forward to this game.
When I first saw it, I was just like, this is VR, right? Like, I feel like this would fit, but it's not VR. Yeah.
It'd be way too easy. I also like immediately thought of my dad. I don't know if this is like a my dad thing or just a dad thing, but my dad takes so much pride in his ability to pack a car to maximum volume. Like, and he's good at it.
I think that's a dad thing. Yeah, so 2 announcements right there. Next one, huge for me, Slay the Spire 2. So this was already announced, but this is the first time any gameplay has been shown for Slay the Spire 2.
And it's so exciting to watch.
It is to me, brother. They showed
I'm not making fun of Slay the Spire. It's a card game.
Like, it's a card game. Yeah, but like I was pogging, bro.
Yeah, I know.
They showed a brand new character. It was like some kind of Grim Reaper, like death type character. So a new character in Slay the Spire is huge news, right? Like so many mechanics and cards and like relics, all of these things focused on a character. So to get a brand new character is like a big deal for this game. So
I was watching this with a friend, and I don't I don't agree with what he said, but he was watching the trailer and he'd never seen Slay the Spire, and he said, "This is what people get so excited about."
I mean, it's fair, yeah. Like it's very much, the art isn't like exceptional or anything. No. Like it's the sound effects are just whatever. But
it's just a masterclass in design, right?
Yeah, the design is just. I mean, it's one of the best design card games ever made. It's exceptional. So, I mean, if this game is even a fraction as good as the original, it'll be a Game of the Year contender for me.
Do you think it'll just include the original, like all the cards and characters?
Well, the screenshot here shows the Ironclad, which is like the first character from the original, and I think they also showed the Silent. So I don't know if they confirmed all the characters though. So there's 4 characters in Slay the Spire 1. We've seen 2 of them so far in Slay the Spire 2, and a brand new character. So I'm not sure if they'll be coming over. I think they absolutely should, because it'd be a shame to lose those gameplay styles. Depending on the character you pick, it's like a completely different experience. Brand new mechanics
sequels
and
are just tricky because, like,
yeah,
you have to kind of make the choice early on. Is this a replacement to the original? Like Spelunky 2, I don't really go back to Spelunky 1 a whole lot, but like Hades 2 doesn't really seem like it replaces Hades 1 so much.
I mean, it seems like a continuation. I haven't played it, but
yeah, me neither.
Yeah, we'll see. Like I hope all the original characters make it back and there's some new ones, but either way, I'm going to be excited. All right. I think very briefly I'll shout this out. Dave the Diver in the Jungle.
This looked like garbage to me.
Dave the Diver is fun, right? It's not like, it didn't blow my mind. Like, people really liked Dave the Diver. I don't get that. I just thought it was like a fun, kind of addictive experience. But yeah, I guess there's I don't know if this is a sequel or a DLC or whatever, but more Dave the Diver. So that's cool.
Yeah.
You seemed really excited by this next one.
I think
Connor.
me and Mike are really going to like Thick as Thieves. This is like...
Thick as Thieves, new multiplayer immersive stealth game.
It's Warren Spector. He's a legend in the immersive sim community. He's the guy who made Thief and Deus Ex. And what this looks like is Thief, but a competitive multiplayer game where you... And I hope this has multiple game modes, because I think it would be sick to have teams, but also free for all. And like there's just so much potential to this idea if it's done well. Where it is, you have a bunch of different classes or characters you can pick from. It's a little unclear which it is, and you are all trying to steal a MacGuffin. So it's like an immersive sim, like Thief level, but the additional obstacle of a bunch of other players trying to steal the same thing as you. I think that's going to be
on paper that sounds like a great, like really fun idea.
And if anybody can do it, like Warren Spector's the guy. So
yeah. Well, he hasn't done a multiplayer game before, though, right? That might be the only kind of potential flag. But yeah, I'm excited to see how this one shapes up. I'll keep my eye on it. The next one was like a WTF kind of like, what is this?
Yeah.
So Shadow Labyrinth is a Pac-Man reimagining as
Like
a
Metroidvania, maybe?
as a Metroidvania. So I was just like, okay, sure.
This isn't the first time something like, have you ever played Pac-Man Land or no, what are they called? Pac-Man World? Like Pac-Man had a series of
No.
3D platformers on the PS1.
Okay, yeah.
So like they've
But it's
done
just like,
weird stuff before.
Making
but this-
Pac-Man dark and gritty is not something I would have thought of.
But
But
if they use some other Bandai Namco properties in this, I think that would really, I don't know, it would interest me more if like there's a Galaga level or something. I don't know.
yeah. All right. I'm going to scroll past the next few because they didn't really catch my eye unless you want to comment on any of them, Connor.
Pyoro looked interesting to me. Terraria's been around a long time. Like,
oh, yeah. This is the Terraria clone.
I think Terraria came out in like 2010 or something, 2012. And so I'm okay with a Terraria clone over 12 years later, whatever. I'll probably play this. Core Keeper looked good. It's the Core Keeper developers.
Yeah. And I don't know. Terraria just has such an appealing aesthetic. So
I think this is pretty.
more games that kind of, I was just going to say more
you're
games that
saying
kind of
Masters.
build on
Yeah.
that is like, is cool, I think.
Yeah, Terraria's biggest problem is that it's like super grindy at the beginning.
Yeah.
And if they can find a way to make that a little more fun, because there is a lot of just digging in Terraria.
But a lot of people like the digging, you know?
Yeah,
That's
I
kinda
did back in the
satisfying
day
too.
when I had infinite time, but
Yeah, right.
yeah.
Okay, I'm going to scroll past the next few to
No,
our
wait,
first.
they got Rocket League IRL.
Yeah, it's just soccer, bro. Why did you make this game? Very strange. But this next game I would argue is the first like mega bombshell of the show. So The Witcher 4 was announced. Ciri is the protagonist. Not really surprising. She was a huge part of The Witcher 3, and she was kind of being set up as the next main character. And I thought the trailer they showed obviously was like, I think it was like CG. Actually, no, they said it was running on unannounced NVIDIA RTX
It's
hardware.
the
Did you see that?
5090. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's probably running on a 5090. I thought it looked really cool.
I thought it looked good. Yeah, I'll be getting it.
I really the trailer they showed, right, like with her trying to help the girl and then finding
Yeah.
the girl dead in the village, like that's classic
Witcher.
Witcher storytelling. You know,
Yeah.
the dark kind of fantasy. It looked fantastic. So yeah, I'm hyped for this. I'm sure Mike's really hyped for this too.
You want to hear a funny story?
Yeah.
I have never played The Witcher 3 because a friend of mine who I was watching the Game Awards with told me years ago he played it and he just thought he told me it was really bland and that he couldn't get into it. I was watching this trailer with him and I said, yeah, I've never played this because you told me The Witcher 3 was bad. And he was like, I love The Witcher 3. What are you talking about? So I've just made that up, I guess.
That's crazy.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
so I've never played this like all-time classic game. So now I
No,
don't want to get
The Witcher 3 is absolutely like an all-timer
Yeah.
RPG. So they have huge shoes to fill for The
Yeah.
Witcher 3. And
But
I got to
they
say,
will.
well, but that's what I'm saying, right? Cyberpunk at launch did not deliver, right? So they need to really hopefully that was a one-off,
Yeah.
right? Like
Cyberpunk
now
at launch,
Cyberpunk
they're
is
not,
yeah.
they're not using their own engine anymore either. This is
Yeah,
gonna
they're
be,
using Unreal 5
which
for this.
Unreal 5 is a mess, but
So
we'll
get ready
see.
for
If anybody can fix it,
stuttery
it's
Witcher 4.
CD
But,
Projekt Red. Yeah.
but
if
yeah,
it's-
so
yeah. I'll be watching the Digital Foundry video before I buy it for sure.
yeah. I mean, like, I would say prior to Cyberpunk, I think CD Projekt Red had that like on site just by like it's going to be good. But Cyberpunk really showed that like maybe they don't have all their stuff together.
They also tend to have an insane Nvidia bias, like just not
do they?
not even implementing. Yeah, their games. Like
It's kind of
there's
strange,
something-
right? Because their games come out on everything,
Their games
and
come out
the
on
consoles are AMD.
But I guess you still, like, to this day, like, I play with ray tracing on and everything in Cyberpunk. I haven't played a ton of it, and it runs okay. But apparently, like, their ray tracing implementation favors NVIDIA so much that there's a mod you can install that makes some very minor changes, and it'll double your frame rate, like, right off the rip.
Okay, yeah,
Which is just, they just don't... and granted, AMD's none of the top like 25 graphics cards, like Nvidia does dominate the market. I think AMD is less than 15% of the market, but still, man.
I mean, 15% is significant though.
And if modders can fix it, like,
yeah, I don't know. We'll see. A new engine. I don't know. I guess what I'm trying to say is I'm not going to give CD Projekt Red the benefit of the doubt right after Cyberpunk.
That's
if
super
way in the far-flung future we see that Cyberpunk was this one-off kind of mistake when it launched, then okay, sure. But for now, I'm definitely going to be keeping my eye on previews and reviews and stuff. But
very fair.
I'm sure, let me just say, one day, whether at launch or 3 years from
later.
launch, Witcher 4 will be an immaculate game.
Yeah.
So, very excited for this. All right, the next game was another huge what is happening moment for me.
This game looks like dog water to me.
Elden Ring Nightreign. So, but like, let's just rewind a bit. So when this trailer dropped, we were like, okay, this is...
Yeah, I was pogging.
Oh my God. No, the first reaction was like, oh my God, this is From Software. And then the next reaction was like, oh my God, this is Elden Ring.
My favorite thing, I immediately, the thing that tipped me off that it was From Software was the texture on the castles. I saw that and I was like, that's From Soft.
Yeah, no, I mean, we picked that up pretty quickly. And then I think before any like action was shown, I was just like, this is Elden Ring.
Yeah.
I could tell by the environments. And then we see Elden Ring gameplay, we see Elden Ring bosses, we see the Nameless King appear. And I was just like, what is actually happening here?
There's some stuff. This is apparently a co-op action roguelike taking place in Limgrave.
With elements of Fortnite, with the enclosing wall.
And I like a lot of that. I like the idea of the roguelike and everything, but it's a hero game, like you choose your hero to play as. That is an immediate huge turnoff to me. And then it's just
such a strange game for someone like From Software to make. And that's not to say they can't do it, right? Like it's just a huge departure from what they're known for.
They have to dial back the difficulty a lot too for it to work as a roguelike. Like you can't have a Shadow of the Erdtree final boss level boss in the end of a roguelike, really, because you can't, like, you know, that's a boss that's made to be bounced off of for hours potentially, and you can't do that in a roguelike. You get one go. I guess it's not gonna be that because it's 3 players. It seems like more of a hack and slash kind of game, and I just don't want that.
Yeah, they tweaked the Elden Ring mechanics, right? Because you could see in the trailer they were like running much faster and like vaulting off of walls. It was like, okay, so it's not exactly the Elden Ring gameplay mechanics. They're changing that too. It's just, it's strange to me that this exists. Like, I think we were talking offline, and this is pure speculation, but this reeks to me of like Bandai Namco going, okay, Elden Ring sold like 30 million copies. I know you're working on all this other stuff. Make more Elden Ring. And then they like cobbled this together. But maybe that's not true. Maybe this has a lot of love and support poured into it. I guess we'll see when it comes out. But initial impression is very kind of lukewarm for me, which is surprising considering it's more Elden Ring. It's just not the flavor of Elden Ring I really wanted.
Yeah, I mean, this is going to come off as maybe a psycho take, but I don't, like, I think the gameplay in Elden Ring is pretty good, but it's not why I play the game. I play the game for the world, the adventure, the exploration, and this doesn't seem like
that's valid.
Have any of that. There's no...
Yeah, this is just the combat of Elden Ring.
Any of the lore.
And it's not even that. It's a little different.
Yeah, I saw people calling it, like, Elden Ring Monster Hunter, which I don't agree with. Monster Hunter, it's, like, going to be better than this, I think. It's...
Yeah, I don't know. So it is this weird case where...
Well. Yeah.
It is this weird case where, like, at first glance, this does not look like something I want to play. But then I look at who's making it. I'm like, okay, you've literally never missed before. So
that's not true. Dark Souls 2 came out.
Dark Souls 2 was not a miss. It was not as good, but it was still very good.
It was fine. I will never ever replay it. I've replayed Dark Souls 1. I've replayed Dark Souls 3. I will never go back to 2. I have no interest.
Yeah, I don't know if I can say that.
Also, 2 was way better once Miyazaki came back and fixed it with the Scholar of the First Sin.
And actually, that's a great point. Another thing to point out with this game, Miyazaki's not directing this game. This is directed by someone else in the company, which is fine, obviously. Like, Miyazaki can't do everything, but
Yeah.
You know,
He actually said that one of the reasons he thought Dark Souls 2 was how it was that he interfered too much. And I can see that. I can see a conflicted vision giving you Dark Souls 2, potentially.
Yeah, so I don't know. This is a very, very strange out of left field reveal. Certainly could have never predicted this, that there's an Elden Ring game coming out in 2025.
I can tell you what kills it for me, though. A co-op focus and no crossplay. And it is confirmed no crossplay.
Oh, that's
so
a shame.
It's dead in the water to me. Like, I don't know anyone to play this with, so...
So they did, I actually double-checked. You can play this solo, but obviously it's very much designed to be played
yeah, it's probably
in a party.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I think it'll be not very good, but we'll see. Yeah. From Software.
Well, you have to, it's a From Software game, so you have to play it solo.
Oh yeah, no, I'm not gonna play it solo. This is not.
It's not a real From Software.
It's not that. Yeah. I mean, yeah.
Basically.
I don't know. It's just so weird that this exists, man. Like, I don't know. From Software does have multiple projects in development, so I'm sure they're also making a more traditional quote unquote From Software game. But this is the next From Soft game, 2025. All right, next game I want to shout out Project Robot. So this is being made by Fumito Ueda, who is the creator of Ico, Shadow of the Colossus, and The Last Guardian. And he's making a new game, and his games always have a very distinct tone and typically a very somber tone, and no one quite makes games like he does, so he has a very unique vision, and I'm excited to see what this is. Just by watching the trailer, you got some of the same vibes as Shadow of the Colossus. There's like a giant robot, and there's like some sort of like wave of death incoming that the character in the trailer avoids. So I'm sure it'll be a very bleak, harrowing experience, and I'm excited to see what this is, because this guy, he doesn't make video games very often, but when they do, they're very much a unique, singular vision.
Right. I look forward to watching a Jacob Geller essay about it and never playing it. Which is fair. That's how I've interacted with all of these games.
Yeah, I own The Last Guardian. I've been meaning to play it, obviously, just been busy. But I did play Shadow of the Colossus, and let me tell you, that is a very special game.
That's what I've heard. Have you played the original or just the remake?
Just the remake, yeah. I missed this on PS2 when it first came out. All right, next game. Another game that took me by surprise and looks very interesting to me. Split Fiction, Hazelight Studios, Joseph Ferris's new game. Very much taking the spirit of It Takes Two to a new kind of level, it seems.
Yeah.
This is a game about two fiction writers, one sci-fi, one fantasy, and the levels are like kind of their story concepts. And you alternate between fantasy and sci-fi.
I think this game's going to be really good. I also think it looks like garbage. I hated every single moment of this trailer.
Really?
The writing was doing nothing for me. The
writing was a little bit cringy in the trailer, and I will admit.
The settings, like everything I've read about it, looks super boring. It's just It Takes Two is so good that I have.
I don't know if I agree with the settings. Like what they showed in the trailer seemed interesting to me. Like I would be interested to explore these worlds or these levels or whatever.
It looked like really generic fantasy and really generic sci-fi, both of which I can't stand. And it looked intentional because they're doing the whole Split Fiction thing. It needs to kind of be basic, I guess, and I not for me.
Yeah, well, I'm definitely gonna play this game. I loved It Takes Two, and I think this will be another kind of knockout from them.
I think it will be too.
Did you play It Takes Two?
No, but I've heard people sing its praises. I've watched some gameplay of it.
Yeah, I mean,
it's just
it won Game of the Year, I think, in 2019. That sounds right.
Against Wilds, blasphemy.
I don't think Outer Wilds was even nominated.
No,
it's not the kind of game that, mainstream audiences consume.
Yeah.
But yeah, It Takes Two was great. And Joseph Ferris, you gotta love Joseph Ferris, right? Like he's just his energy is so infectious, and he
said a bunch of cuss words.
Yeah, like in front of his two infant daughters, which is even funnier. But he came to the Game Awards. He very excitedly revealed his new game, and you can just feel his energy and passion. So cool to see that he's excited for a new project. And also, game comes out in a few months. It's like it was announced at the Game Awards and it's out in a few months. I love that. Yeah, so Split Fiction, looking forward to that. Let's see. What's the next game we should talk about? All right, I think the next game we should talk about is Borderlands 4. So Borderlands 4 was announced, right? Like, obviously that's rather, the first gameplay was revealed for Borderlands 4. And the only note I have for this is that I'm very much over Borderlands as a franchise. I don't really find it interesting anymore. This was a very serious trailer. Like, it was just no-nonsense gameplay, no claptrap cracking jokes. Like, that's very uncharacteristic for Borderlands, and I wonder if that was intentional in that them signaling that this will be different from prior Borderlands games.
That's what it would take to get me to buy one, is releasing a game and promising me claptrap will shut up. I hated Borderlands 3. I mean, the gameplay was fun. I played it with my buddy Tyler, and we had a pretty good time.
Yeah.
But, like, I muted it. I could not stand the writing. The writing is so terrible in Borderlands 3. And I don't know, man. It's just hard to get excited for. I've always hated the character design in Borderlands. And this is no exception. I hate the player characters in this. And that's a personal taste thing, absolutely. There's no, like, objective criticism I could deliver. They look fine. I just don't like them.
Yeah, I don't know. I think a big problem with Borderlands 3 as well, like, was the villain or villains. They were just god-awful, the streamers.
Yeah.
Handsome Jack was a fantastic villain.
He was. He carries that game. Even though the humor is extremely dated now, Handsome Jack is not. Handsome Jack.
Yeah, so hopefully they can zero in on another really charismatic, good villain, because I think that was one of the ingredients to Borderlands 1 and 2's success.
Yeah. You just gotta have a buddy to play with. I played Borderlands 2 with a friend.
This is very much I can't imagine playing this by myself.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. I just want to comment on the fact that, like, none of that characteristic humor in this trailer, which actually kind of made me pay attention a little bit.
Yeah.
So
I'm
going to keep an eye on it.
The cell shading is much more subdued too, art style wise.
Yeah, the art style looks, I think, more improved from prior games.
It's still
the same. Yeah, it's still unmistakably Borderlands, but it looks more refined now, I think.
It's a little Apex Legends.
It kind of is, yeah.
Yeah.
Kind of. So, I don't know. Maybe Borderlands 4 is kind of a departure from the franchise, or maybe they just held all the jokes back from the trailer and it's the same that we were getting. But
yeah,
I know a lot of people are going to be excited for that regardless. So, wanted to point that out. All right. Moving right along here.
Misses for me after that one.
So, okay, I will say, like, we did praise Jeff Keighley's show, and obviously it was a great show. The middle third, there was a huge slump where there was a lot of forgettable stuff shown, but I don't really know how you get around that, especially with a show of this length. Like, some parts of it are going to be boring.
Also, like, some of these are just ads, they pay.
Yeah, some of them are just ads, right? So, but I think still overall as a show, this was incredible. And I think maybe now is a really good time to talk about Amir and the Game Changer Award.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So, Jeff Keighley, I think, like I said, in a very classy way, he did acknowledge that it's awkward for the Game Awards to do anything or highlight the sort of dichotomy of the games industry where it's this celebration of art and gameplay and what have you, and meanwhile tens of thousands of people are having their lives ruined by losing their jobs. So this year, Jeff Keighley announced this Game Changer Award, which highlighted this man, Amir, I forget his last name, but he is a man who, in his own spare time, he has set up several resources to help laid off devs. He has one-on-one meetings with them. He helps them find new jobs, and he does this all for free. He does it out of the kindness of his heart, and they had Amir at the show, and he gave a very, very heartwarming acceptance speech, and you could just really tell how genuine this guy was and just trying to help game developers. So people like him are really kind of leading the way against fighting against these layoffs and helping people who are affected. And it was just a very touching moment, a very touching, genuine moment in this show.
It was.
So
I would argue it was the best part of the show. It was.
yeah, I think that's probably true. Yeah,
Amir's a special guy, and it was a very special moment seeing him. I mean, just the raw emotion. Like it was. I was getting choked up a little watching this guy give his speech. It was really good.
It's so easy to be a cynic, right? And almost rightfully so. Sometimes you look at something and you're like, okay, this was manufactured in a lab. This was XYZ. But like you watch this and you just know there's no way. Like this is 100% genuine, coming from the heart, and it really means a lot to him, and it really means a lot to the people that were laid off to have someone like him that can help them get through it. So yeah, huge shout out to that guy, and shout out to Jeff for putting that in your show. I think it's very important. All right, moving on a little bit. There were a couple games. Sorry, were you going to say something?
I was going to say Project Century is probably the next one that...
Yeah, so I was going to say there were several games announced by, or 2 games rather, announced by Ryuga Gotoku, who make the Yakuza games. So one was a new Virtual Fighter.
Oh, I didn't realize that was the same guy. Okay.
Yeah, which is a... I don't know if there's been a Virtual Fighter game in eons, but...
Yeah, the last one would have been on the Dreamcast, right?
I think that sounds right, but it's another kind of storied return, which is kind of a theme at this Game Awards, actually, as we'll get into later.
Well, Sega's just all about that right now, too.
Yeah. And then Project Century, which looks like a 1912 Yakuza game, or 1915, rather, sorry, which
I gotta say,
also is an interesting concept.
Yeah, weird time to be in Japan. Yeah.
1915, yeah. So, yeah. That's prior to that's like pre-war and everything. So
yeah, interesting.
Yeah, unique concept though. Can't fault that.
Mm-hmm.
And the Yakuza devs are always make good games. So
yeah, I wonder how funny it's gonna be. I always think of funny with Yakuza, and this game doesn't look very funny.
It looked kind of serious. Yeah. Okay. Moving on, another revival. Turok Origins, a new Turok game. The dinosaur hunting game. I know Mike's a huge fan of Turok. He popped off in the Discord when this was revealed.
Yeah.
I know this is a big deal, right? Like this was an N64 game.
I'm happy for the people that are happy.
There's a new Turok coming out. So another story of just like a return of a long gone franchise.
Yeah. Oh, it ditches first person. I didn't realize that. Third person. I don't know about all that.
Does it ditch first person?
That's what
okay. Yeah.
Interesting. Says.
But yeah, new Turok. There's a Warframe expansion announced. I'm only bringing that up because that's another kind of Mike announcement.
We're gonna hear a lot about that over
acknowledge
the
that.
episodes.
Yeah.
That's out now, I believe. Yeah, December 13th. Yeah. So we will be hearing about that.
Yeah.
In the near future.
Okay. There was another huge return, and this one got a lot of people popped for this. Onimusha Way of the Sword. A new Onimusha game is back. Capcom is bringing Onimusha back. And yeah, I mean, this looks cool. Like the melee action in these games always in my mind, something like Neo has kind of replaced Onimusha, but like Onimusha were kind of the OGs of this style of game.
I've never played one.
It's cool that it's coming back. I haven't played it either. I've just heard about it. Okay. But yeah, it's a big deal that this game is coming back, out
almost 20 years. Yeah.
2026. Let's see what else. Sonic Racing Crossworlds was announced, a new Sonic racing game.
Yeah, that's a big we'll see. You passed over one, Stage Fright. I'm a little interested in.
Okay.
It's the developers of Overcooked, Ghost Town Games.
Oh, yes. I forgot about this. Yeah. I don't
think the game looks very good, but I like...
The developers are good.
I like Overcooked so much that this is one to keep an eye on, IMO.
Before moving down this list, I also want to mention, because it's not on this list, there was a new Helldivers 2 expansion announced and dropped.
It's fun.
At the Game Awards. And it seems like a pretty substantial update. The new faction has been added. You're fighting on Earth, it looks like.
No.
So you're not?
No,
okay.
Not on Earth. You're on Calypso right now.
Calypso. Okay.
Yeah. It's just a colony, but it does have cities.
Calypso
it's urban environments.
Pirates of the Caribbean 3. But anyways, yeah. It looks cool, and I definitely want to play it soon.
Just say, well, you've already missed the fight for Calypso's over. We won.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, we won that last night. I was playing that with my buddy Brock, and we won Calypso. I don't know what came after that. I'm sure you can still fight the Illuminate somewhere.
Yeah, you gotta love the live nature of Helldivers too. Very cool.
It was cool. I was like literally, like we were at like 98%, and me and Brock were like, we're doing our part, and we played for like a couple hours or something. I had to get off, and I got off, and like 8 minutes later, I get a text from Brock that it was over and we won.
Nice. But yeah, exciting to get a new faction. I think that's just going to add some much needed variety. To the proceedings. And
I don't know if you've played since they added a level 10 difficulty Super Helldive.
I have not. I don't think I ever even played at level 9. We never got that far.
I played an 8 with Brock, and then we played a 3, like a full campaign of 10 with us two strangers.
Yeah.
And we won. We did it, but it was by the skin of our teeth there at the end.
Yeah.
It was chaos. I think they need to pump up the difficulty on the Illuminate just a hair, because we barely won, but I never really felt like we were gonna lose. So there's like a little fine tuning, I think, or maybe add a level 11 or something.
Because like with the bugs and the robots, you don't know. Like sometimes you're just like, I might die on this planet.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's interesting. Okay, only a few more left here. Mafia: The Old Country, new Mafia game was announced, or the first gameplay trailer was shown. That's cool. I never really played the Mafia games, but I know they're pretty big. You got anything to say about that, Connor?
No, I never played the old ones, and I have zero interest in the new one.
All right. These next two, okay, these are more bombshells. So, a sequel to Okami was announced, which is just out of nowhere kind of announcement. So,
if they
Okami...
Sorry, you go.
Yeah, so Okami was on the PS2, and it was like a Zelda-like
I thought
on the PS2.
It was on the Wii.
I think it originally came out on the PS2.
I thought because it used the Wii remote. You're right. It was on the PlayStation 2. How did you do the drawing?
I don't know. I never played it.
It must have been with the joystick. I always thought it was a Wii original because you draw with the Wii remote.
No. So this was a PS2 game, very beloved, very respected, one of the PS2's crowning jewels. And then it just never really got a follow-up.
Yeah.
And again, this is Capcom bringing back things decades later, saying that, no, we have not forgotten. We are creating a follow-up to Okami, and Hideki Kamiya is the head of the project, creator of the original. So I never played Okami. Okami is one of those games, I own Okami. Like, I've always meant to get around to playing it. It seems beautiful and fun, but I have yet to play it. So it's great to see the sequel being announced. Will probably give me an excuse to go back and finally play Okami. I know it's one of the most beloved PS2 games. So this is a gargantuan announcement.
If they hadn't told me I was supposed to be excited about it, I wouldn't have even looked up from my phone for Okami. That's just, I didn't know. I didn't know that it, like, I know a couple people who are like huge Okami diehards, but I didn't know. The way Jeff Keighley was talking about it, this was supposed to light the world on fire. I was like, I thought this was going to be Half-Life 3, and then it was like, oh, isn't that the game with the dog? Like,
yeah, it's very much, I don't know, like, if you haven't played Okami, obviously you won't know, but there were people who played Okami that were like crying at this reveal.
Yeah.
So it is a game that means a lot to a lot of people, and I do intend on playing the original at some point before this comes out.
I might have to.
But also, I think this was an announcement that it was in development, so there's like no shot it's even coming out anytime soon.
Yeah.
And that's a little annoying, right? Like, I get that it's a big deal that this game's happening, but like, please just show it when there's something to show, right? Like, there was no trailer or anything. They were just like, sequels in development. Like, okay, it's cool that you got your announcement, but like, I'd rather see something.
Yeah.
And the final One More Thing announcement, which made me lose my actual mind.
Yes, it did.
Was the reveal of Naughty Dog's new game, Intergalactic: The Heretic Prophet. And seconds into this trailer, I just knew it was Naughty Dog.
You knew? I didn't.
I just knew. If you look at the Discord, you see me like freaking out and be like, this is Naughty Dog.
See, until they showed I was extremely bored with this trailer until they showed the Naughty Dog logo. There was nothing in this.
Oh, that's crazy to me.
There was nothing
like
in
from
this to get me
frame
excited.
one, it was so striking.
I mean, I think it
the
looks
imagery
good,
of the planet
but
against the star.
There's like no action. There's no. I like the analog sci-fi. I'm into that. I'm very into that. But like,
no,
Starfield
right away the tone of the trailer hooked me.
See,
and
not me. I don't know what.
Yeah, we just have
it.
different.
Yeah,
we
different
just have
tastes.
different tastes. But yeah, right away I was just like, this is Naughty Dog. I can feel it, and it was that belief was strengthened when we saw the character and saw how she moved and animated. I was like, yeah, this animation, this is Naughty Dog animation class animation.
Until I saw it was Naughty Dog, I was just thinking of Concord the whole time. Like,
why?
Because it was just another cinematic trailer. Like, yeah, it looks good, but it like
this was in game though. This wasn't CG.
Yeah, but it might as well, like, graphics now might as well be CG. Like, it wasn't gameplay. It was a cinematic.
Yeah, but, like, knowing Naughty Dog, they don't tend to misrepresent the visuals.
No,
like,
I think it will look this good, yeah.
I think it will look like this, right? So we get this trailer of this girl who's some kind of bounty hunter looking for someone, and we get the retro future aesthetic. She has like a Pet Shop Boys CD she puts in before she blasts off towards this planet. And she's going to this planet where apparently no one's come back from in 600 years. Everyone who goes to explore it goes away. So immediately that's a kind of interesting story hook, like what's going on this planet. But yeah, just the spaceship blasting away with that music playing, and then the words come in from the developers who brought you Crash Bandicoot, Jak and Daxter, Uncharted, The Last of Us. I was just over the moon, man. This...
I got excited then because I was like, oh, that's why we're excited about this. That was my cue to like neurons activate. This is going to be really good.
To me, right, like obviously Naughty Dog and From Software, those are my two favorite developers in the world. And sci-fi is my favorite genre, full stop. I love sci-fi more than fantasy. So whenever I get good sci-fi, I am eating. And there's just not a lot of good sci-fi video games. You know, obviously, we've got Mass Effect. That's huge.
Outer Wilds.
Outer Wilds, huge. Mm-hmm. But like, it's certainly not as prevalent as fantasy games. You could turn over a rock and find like 4 fantasy games there.
And I feel like a sci-fi game is way more likely to be bad too. Like, there's a lot of like...
It's harder to get right, I think.
Our RPG mechanics don't always fit sci-fi as well as they do fantasy.
Yeah. So... to see this be a sci-fi game from my favorite developer, I was just like, I've waited my life for a game like this. And obviously, still have no real clue what it is, right? We haven't seen gameplay or anything, but just the tone set by the trailer, the music, the everything really got me interested in this, and I will be salivating for more information on this game.
I hope so bad that it has Uncharted set pieces, because Uncharted set pieces in space would be like...
I can't even imagine.
It'd be the best. It'd be
like,
amazing.
Imagine the mechanics of that being like sucked out of the...
Yeah.
Like, yeah, it's just... Oh my god, yeah, like...
I need it.
Naughty Dog has the opportunity to do like some crazy stuff.
Yeah, and I do think
really hasn't been done before.
Tonally, this feels more Uncharted than Last of Us.
Yeah, so I have followed up and like looked at some information about this game. Neil Druckmann did give a brief interview, and he said that we want to kind of return to our roots for this game. Cowboy Bebop and Akira are huge inspirations for this game.
Yeah,
and those are saying all the right words.
Yep.
In my opinion. So don't get me wrong, I love The Last of Us, and I'm sure Last of Us 3 is still coming at some point, but I am glad that we are seeing something fresh and completely new from Naughty Dog for the first time in, I think, 2 decades, roughly. So, yeah, man, this took my breath away, and I was just left on an insane high after watching this. And what a way to cap off the Game Awards.
Speaking of The Last of Us, they announced Last of Us Part 2 on PC at this
on
award,
PC,
and that wasn't even on this list. That was probably the one I'm second most excited about of everything announced here.
Yeah, so you'll finally get a chance to play it and see what all the hubbub is about.
Cement my already formed opinion.
You're already determined 6 out of 10.
I can
rating.
finally release that negative review I wrote years ago.
All right. Yeah, just like the director of Black Myth Wukong.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, no, that's exciting. Hopefully it's in better shape at launch than The Last of Us 1. I'm sure it will be.
Oh, was that a thing?
Learn some lessons. Yeah, remember Last of Us 1 launch on PC was kind of disastrous.
I don't remember that. I didn't play it.
Last of Us Part 2 coming out on PC, but yeah, Intergalactic the Heretic Prophet, it's a bit of a wordy title. It's not as catchy as something like Uncharted or The Last of Us, but maybe playing the game will maybe justify the title. I don't know.
The worst part is Intergalactic and the Heretic Prophet by themselves are both bad titles too. So
yeah, Intergalactic is a pretty generic title, and the Heretic Prophet doesn't really, I don't know. I guess the game will make it make sense, but you got to have some kind of space-sounding name, I think, if you're a sci-fi game.
Like The Last of Us is an amazing title. Uncharted is amazing.
Yes.
Jak and Daxter rolls off the tongue.
Yeah, so title-wise, that was like the one thing I'm like, that's kind of strange, but...
Yeah.
And I can't see this game coming out next year.
Nah,
like, there's just no way. 2026 at the earliest.
If it was coming next year, we'd have a release date, I feel like.
Yeah, there was no release year shown, so it might even be like...
a PS5 game.
Well, it said captured on PS5, so hopefully it is a PS5 game.
Yeah, okay, it's probably a PS5 game then.
Yeah, 2026, I'm guessing, is when this game comes out. So
2029 or so.
Agonizing wait begins, yeah. So that is the Game Awards.
Yeah,
10th anniversary Game Awards 2024. Exceptional show, I think.
It was. I mean, I had a really good time, even with the expectations I went in with. I do wish I hadn't gone in thinking I was going to see Half-Life 3.
Yeah, but at a certain point, I think that's on you, and I think that's on all the Half-Life fans. It's just like, how many times do you have to be let down to learn your lesson?
Look, I know it burnt me last time, but it might not be a lot anymore.
Right, exactly. It's you guys have been doing this for the better part of a decade or two now.
I think two, yeah.
Yeah, 2 decades now, so enough is enough. But yeah, even without Half-Life 3, I mean, I think this was an all-timer kind of games conference. And it just fired on both fronts, right? It was an exceptional games conference, and it was an exceptional award show. So it was just like really, really well done.
It has me more excited for Summer Games Fest now, next year.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, I feel like most of his energy gets put into this, right?
I
can't imagine... Like, I don't think Summer Games Fest will be as good, or even close to as good as this.
Well, I mean, it can't, because like you wouldn't get Intergalactic at Summer Games Fest.
At Summer Games Fest, yeah. The big guns are saved for this thing.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's because all of them have their own shows now.
Yeah, that's crazy, right? That Naughty Dog's new game was not revealed at a Sony event. It was revealed at the Game Awards.
Well, there were a lot of people watching this thing. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know what the official numbers were, but I saw Moist Critical, who isn't somebody I watch a ton, but I happened to click a video. He pointed out that his most viewed stream ever was him streaming the Game Awards.
Wow, and that's just like one subset, right?
Yeah.
Like, obviously, there were people watching the Game Awards, and then there were people watching streamers watch the Game Awards. So, yeah, the total viewership was probably massive.
It's had a lot of eyeballs on it, yeah.
Yeah. Good job, Jeff. You did good.
Yeah. You've come a long way from being bullied by Joel McHale live on air.
That's true. Yeah, he has come a long way. And... I get that it must be challenging to be in his position, right? Like, you know, we've said a lot of things about Jeff Keighley over the years, but I really do believe he genuinely loves video games.
I agree.
You can see that, you can hear that in his voice, see that on his face. He loves video games. But like him being in the position that he's in, he sometimes, I think, has to do kind of unsavory things.
I agree, and I'll let him get away with that. The things I don't like are when he gives 35 minutes to his personal friend Hideo Kojima. Like,
right, yeah,
that stuff gets on my nerves. And there was
none
of that
gotten
this
better
year.
about that, right?
Yeah,
Kojima came out, gave an award, went away.
Yeah, and it was and I would have even been okay with a Death Stranding trailer or something. I just didn't want.
Right.
I don't remember exactly what it was, but last year it felt very unfair how much time Kojima got.
Yeah, so I think a lot of it is just growing pains, getting good at doing this sort of thing, but hopefully, I mean, this momentum carries over into next year, because I think Jeff Keighley's in a very good spot now. I think he won everyone back, right? Like, there were people kind of doubting his character, like, what are you doing, Jeff? But
everybody got to finish their speech this year.
There was no glaring sign telling people to wrap it up. It just seemed like a very good, respectful, classy event this year. All right. Anything else you want to say about the Game Awards, Connor?
No, it was just a good time. A rootin' tootin' good time.
All right. What have you been playing?
I was playing it last week too, but I'm still playing Indiana Jones and the Great Circle.
Oh, nice.
I'm
Okay.
surprised how much I like this game. I was actually really wanting to talk about it with you, and you weren't here last week.
Well, I did hear the episode, obviously,
did,
so
yeah.
I know all of your points already.
It continues to be gorgeous. It continues to have its own identity, but I did get to play some. Granted, this is coming from somebody who's never watched an Indiana Jones movie, so like
That's crazy.
My
Yeah.
point of comparison is Uncharted, and I did play through something that was like an Uncharted level bombastic set piece that you actually get to play, and I was just pogging out of my mind. It's definitely fewer and farther between, but I'm getting into more of the story. The emotional moments are hitting. And like really hitting. And I actually think they're doing better than Uncharted on this, because there were a few times where it was like an emotional moment would hit in Uncharted and then you immediately have to get back into the action and it feels a little weird. They did a much better job of easing you back into the action after the emotional moments. I love the characters. I'm a little not in love with the area I'm in right now. But for the most part, I've been in love with the open areas you get to explore. The Vatican, Giza. And then there are some tighter, more linear areas you go through as well. There's like, you saw the trailer of the big icy ship that you're going through. That's probably my favorite so far. It's really good.
Yeah, I mean, it looks amazing. I'm excited to play this game one day. How do you feel about does the first person camera bother you at all?
No, I kind of thought it would, but that was when I was thinking of it in terms of Uncharted. Now that I'm thinking of it in terms of what it actually is, which is like a very light immersive sim, it feels right.
But like, how do the set piece moments work for you in first person?
It goes third person every time you climb.
Oh, okay.
So the set pieces are largely third person.
Okay, that's cool.
And I will say
like
it's a little heavy-handed with the cutscenes. You are not playing for a lot of the most action-packed parts. That would be my only real criticism of it.
Like for the set pieces?
For some parts of the set pieces, there are decent amounts of time where you are not pressing any buttons.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, one thing that makes the Uncharted set pieces exceptional is that you're going through them. It's never just a cutscene, watch this crazy stuff happen. You're literally playing through it.
Some of the earlier ones that bothered me, the one I just played through, which has been the best one so far, I'm actually having trouble remembering when it took control away from me because I was just so immersed the whole time.
Yeah.
I guess.
So yeah, it did its job.
Yeah, it was really good. Highly recommend. But I really recommend you play it on PC. I know you were holding out for it on PlayStation, but this is such a showcase for ray tracing. I think it would, especially because you have a better ray tracing graphics card than me. You have the 4080, I think, right?
Yeah,
Super
4080. And just 4080.
Just the 4080. And even for me, the ray tracing runs immaculately. But you just the Pro is probably a little better, but the consoles don't have the ray tracing hardware to do what this game is capable of. I wouldn't say they don't do it justice. I've seen the footage. This game's beautiful on everything that it's on, but it's something special on PC.
Interesting, yeah.
I mean, this game, and it runs so well. This game doesn't have FSR, and it's fully ray traced. No raster fallback. It's fully ray traced for lighting.
No FSR, really?
It doesn't have FSR, and it does not need it. It
doesn't need it. That's crazy.
I have dynamic resolution scaling set, so if it drops under 60 FPS, it'll dynamic resolution scale. I tracked it for a bit because I wanted to see, and I was like,
you got to track it for a bit.
Huh?
I said you got to track it for a bit. Like if you're on PC,
I only tracked it for a bit because I was like, I don't see any dynamic resolution scaling. I don't see anything. Like, am I blind? And it never dropped below 65 FPS. And this is with full 7900 XTX as an
at 4K.
Card. No, I'm playing it on my ultra wide 1440.
Okay.
But
yeah, so I'll be playing it on 1440 as well.
And I think you would want to play it. If I was playing it on my TV, they seem to be pushing a cinematic view, which is the ultra wide, like the same resolution as my monitor. So that was why I made that decision, kind of. Yeah. And it never dips. It's getting FSR eventually, but it never dipped below 60 FPS, which is when it would have started resolution scaling. And it's just, they're blowing everyone else out of the water on technical performance with ray tracing. No other game I've played can do that without upscaling. It's crazy what they've managed to do.
That's awesome. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it looks like another kind of PC showcase game.
Yeah. Once it gets FSR 3 frame gen, it'll be 140 FPS. It'll be even better for me. But
yeah,
it doesn't have that yet, and I'll probably be done with it before that happens. But just
Yeah, how long are like how many hours have you put into it?
I don't know. I can check real quick.
I'm just curious, right? Because like a game like this, I feel like the sweet spot is like 12 to 14 hours.
Yeah, I
but
think I'm over 10, but I also feel I'm over halfway through. I think it's closer to 20 hours.
that's totally fine. Yeah, I think anything over 20 hours in an action adventure kind of Uncharted like game would be pushing it for me.
So
but-
I'm 9.2 hours in. It says how long to beat is 13 hours. But this
okay,
game has
that's a great length. Yeah.
better than Uncharted. This game has like big open areas with side missions and stuff.
Oh,
and so
really?
main plus extras is 21 hours on this. And I've actually, the extras are good. I haven't been doing like the collectibles. The collectibles are boring, but if I get a side mission, those side missions tend to have a character with you and there's good dialogue and everything. The side missions are actually worth chasing down.
Yeah, honestly, that main plus extras hour count, I love that. 21 hours seems like a
Yeah.
perfect length for like if you want to do everything, it'll take 21 hours. I love that. Great.
Yeah.
No more of
Good
these
game.
40, 80-hour games.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like a 31 hour if you do full completionist, doing all the collectibles and everything. I don't really recommend that. Unless there's like a crazy reward. I don't even know what that would be. But it feels good. It's weirdly stealth heavy for an Indiana Jones game, I feel like. I don't think of stealth, but I haven't seen the movies, I guess. I don't think of him as a stealthy guy.
You don't know anything about Indiana Jones.
Yeah, well, I know he wears that hat.
He does wear the hat. And he does have a whip, right? Is the whip in the game?
Yeah, the whip's in the game. Yeah. I don't use it for combat a whole lot. It's mostly for swinging on things. But
okay, yeah.
you do a lot of swinging from things. And I just can't get over how good this game looks. And especially I was so in love with this game when we got to the Vatican, and I was like, oh my god, I've been here.
Right, yeah.
These areas,
especially with these with the ray tracing and everything in this game, like it'll look exactly like because let me tell you, when we went to the Vatican, it had ray trace reflections.
Oh, it had ray trace
like
reflections
IRL for sure.
For sure. Yeah. No, you walk into the Sistine Chapel at one point, and it didn't even tell me what room I was walking into, and I just walked in, and I was like, "Oh, I've been here. This is the Sistine Chapel. Like, this is so cool." It was a lot less crowded in the game than it was in real life, but it was just and going through the
Very
catacombs, even the catacombs you go through. Now, the ones they go through are under the Vatican. The ones we went through were outside Rome.
Right.
But still, it was very like real.
So yeah, so like Rome or Italy is like kind of the first set piece.
It's the
country.
first area you go to. The opening is like playing through the intro of one of the movies. I think it's the first one, but I don't know because obviously I haven't seen it. But it's like the boulder scene.
Oh yeah, that's famous.
Yeah, and then you're at his school for a little bit. And then you fly to the Vatican, and you have to like sneak in and everything.
Does Troy Baker do a good Harrison Ford impression? I hear it's pretty good.
It's extremely good. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that man has a very his voice is a chameleon.
All the voice acting, all the audio in this game is really
Indiana Jones in this game is the same as Joel from The Last of Us. Just think about that for a second.
Yeah, I know.
That's crazy. Okay, well, yeah, this game sounds rad, and I'll probably be playing it sooner rather than later with the PC recommendation then.
Even as somebody who hasn't seen the movies, also, they're like they have a very light hand with it, but they start playing that main motif into the theme song.
Iconic.
And I'm pogging out of my mind.
Yeah. You don't need to like be familiar at all with Indiana Jones to recognize that theme. That's like one of the all-time cinema themes that anyone will recognize.
Yeah. It's just a really good game.
Does it get a spot in our bracket?
I gotta look at the bracket again. I think
we gotta like sort that out before tomorrow, by the way.
Tomorrow, yeah.
Yeah.
We'll have to I'll take a look at that. I'll message Mike. I gotta say, I didn't really know this about Indiana Jones, but he's kind of a dickbag.
Oh no, that's very much in character.
Yeah. Because I came in here from an Uncharted perspective, and Nathan Drake has flaws, but he's a generally likable guy. Indiana Jones.
Nathan Drake is very
just a dick.
Very sarcastic. Nathan Drake is very sarcastic, but he has a heart of gold, right? Like,
yeah, no, Indy feels like the boomer's idea of like the heart of gold. Like, oh no, he's mean.
That
to
is what it
everybody.
is, right?
He's mean to everybody, but deep down he's a good guy. He's like, no, he's actually just a dick, guys. Like, why do you like him?
Yeah,
he's actually mean to you
That's
all
funny.
the time. Like, it's still entertaining as media, but like, I would not be friends with this guy.
Yeah.
He's such an ass.
Anything else?
No, that's all I got. Loving that game though.
All right. So it's interesting. I have not really played video games since like Thanksgiving. It's been a while.
It's been
I've
almost a
just been
month,
so insanely busy. But I don't think we've really talked about games since Thanksgiving, or at least I haven't. All right. We had a show last week without me on it. And
Yeah.
we did like 2 shows at once, and so it's been a while, right? For me. So I'm going to talk about Super Mario Party Jamboree because that's like what I played
Oh yeah.
over the Thanksgiving holiday with my family.
Is it good?
And we played the crap out of this
Oh,
game.
yeah?
Yeah, it's very good. We've played on every single map in this game multiple times. Well, actually, there's one map we didn't play on. You do have unlockable maps in this game, and it takes a while to unlock them.
That's a weird choice.
It is a weird choice. I had to sit down one day and I was just like, all right, I'm going to spend the next 2 hours grinding this so we can unlock the maps for us later today.
So yeah, that's
annoying.
annoying.
I didn't end up doing that, and that sucked. I will say, like, the campaign mode or whatever is just god awful.
Really?
It's like you're basically setting up for the Mario Party, which I guess is a kind of cool idea. But you go onto one of these boards and you can just like run across it like it's a map.
Ooh, I like
right?
that.
Like on the spaces though, right?
Yeah.
Like you don't have to like roll a dice, you just run on the spaces and you like talk to NPCs and help them out, like get
I'm
ready
a
for the
sucker
party.
stuff like that.
You help them get ready for the party by like doing mini games and whatnot, finding things for them.
And you're
So
saying that sucks? That sounds fun. I think it would suck on a time limit.
It's just kind of like I just wanted the new maps, right?
Yeah.
That was why I was doing it. I would never do this. I would never play Mario Party by myself. But this game also has like online Mario Party, right? So you don't like, even if you're by yourself, you can play with other people, which is cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, unlock the maps. Maps are a ton of fun in this game. Each one has unique mechanics. The final map you unlock in this game is the Bowser map, and that map is crazy.
Yeah.
There is this center area where the star usually spawns, and then over the course of the game, Bowser flips all those spaces to Bowser spaces. So towards the end of the game, the star spawns, and literally every space around it is a Bowser space. So you just basically have to like wade into the danger zone and hope Bowser doesn't steal a star from you.
That sounds awesome.
And we had this, like, you land on a Bowser space, right? And like the roulette goes, and one of the options is lose a star, right?
Mm-hmm.
So when we were playing, my sister landed on the Bowser space, and she was just like, please don't take a star. So the roulette was going, and then Bowser reaches out, crushes the roulette, and says, no, I'm just going to take your star. And we were like, what?
Oh,
that is
so
crazy.
Good.
So like sometimes that can just happen on this map.
That's awesome.
Where Bowser
is Bowser
just
a playable
decides.
character in this too?
Bowser Jr. is, but I
Okay.
don't think Bowser is actually. Yeah.
That
But yeah,
sounds awesome.
so Bowser can just surprise star's gone, right?
I love Mario.
So this
Party.
is a very much a spicy map. But here's you're gonna love this even more. So in this map in particular, obviously with all the Bowser spaces, a lot of coins, a lot of stars get stolen.
Yeah.
There is a Monopoly style free parking mechanic on this map. Do you know what I
Where
mean
you
by
like
that?
get the stars back?
So there's this vault where everything Bowser steals, it goes there. And there's the vault has this 2-digit combination to open it. And as people guess a number, it grays out. So if you guess the number on the first row, then you just have to guess the number on the second row. So you have like a 1 in 10 chance or whatever
Okay.
at that point. So as the game goes, the odds get higher and higher as people pass by and try to guess the combination. So if your star gets stolen by Bowser, if your coins get stolen by Bowser, they all get into that vault. So one of the strategies could be like, okay, I'm not going to go for the star, but I'm going to go for the vault, right? Because the vault is really off to the side. So you have to make a trek to get there. So you're exchanging valuable turns where you could be pursuing the star
For a
to
chance.
like Hail Mary, go for the vault, right? So that's also like a very interesting wrinkle.
I
on
really
this
like
map.
that. That's so good.
Yeah, it's very good. And I gotta say, right, like I passed by the vault. The first digit was already pressed on the first row. We had already guessed that. And on the bottom row, there were no one had guessed anything. So I had a 1 in 10 chance.
Yeah.
I pressed the number 6. Click. It unlocked. The achievement. I actually stood up and like yelled. Like that's how much adrenaline I had. I was so pumped. And I got everything, right? Everything in that vault on my first guess. You know, like I had a 1 in 10 chance of getting it.
No good.
So
Your
it
family
just creates,
must have been raging.
they were like, "How do you always do stuff like this?"
It's just,
But like
he's
they were
built different.
they were
He's a
so
gamer.
mad. Yeah. But I was Lisan al-Gaib. I foresaw the correct future, and I opened the vault on my first try and got all the items in it. And I did end up winning that game eventually. And that was actually the first game of Super Mario Jamboree I won, because every other game, like my sister's won or my brother-in-law won.
Yeah.
So it felt really good to win that. And so that's just one map, right? So each map has unique mechanics like that. I will say the Bowser map is probably the best map, right? Because of the vault mechanic and the Bowser spaces. Yeah. But like the other maps are no slouch either. Like one of the maps I really like is like a mall with like 3 stories. And there's like clearance sales where items go on sale, and like that's a mechanic. And like the star can be bought for like half price and on the clearance sale. And the concept, like the unique wrinkle in this game is the Jamboree buddy, right? So a couple times in a match, a Jamboree buddy appears on the board. And whoever hits the Jamboree buddy, when you hit the Jamboree buddy, it starts a minigame, a unique minigame to that character, right? So if it's Luigi, it'll always be Luigi's Jamboree minigame.
That's cool.
And the person who stepped on Luigi, like passed Luigi by, will get an advantage in that minigame. So they'll be more likely to win the Jamboree minigame. And they're each unique, right? Like each character has their own Jamboree minigame. Donkey Kong's is like a rhythm game. Luigi's is like a multi-room puzzle solving game. So when you have a Jamboree buddy, you're basically OP for like a few turns. So any space you land on, you trigger twice. So if you get a lucky space, you get 2 lucky spaces. If you pass by a star, you get 2 stars. That sort of thing. So the Jamboree buddies are like a huge game changer. They can really quickly alter the course of a game. So it's always fun. Like when a Jamboree buddy spawns, like everyone's like, okay, we want to get this Jamboree buddy. And the other fun mechanic is that if someone gets Jamboree buddy, and you roll a dice that goes past them, you then steal the Jamboree buddy. So it's like this mad dash to keep the Jamboree buddy, steal the Jamboree buddy players from other people. And keep in mind, right, like everything is done twice, right? So if you land on Bowser space with a Jamboree buddy, you get 2 Bowsers, right?
So it's high risk, high reward.
Yeah. If you pass by Boo with a Jamboree buddy, you can steal 2 things, like 2 sets of coins or 2 stars or whatever. So really interesting wrinkle. And obviously all your classics are back. You still get like the swap space where like you hit the dice blocks to determine like what gets swapped, who receives what, and who has to give what. And that's always fun in Mario Party, where like that can instantly change the game, where you have to like swap stars with someone or something. So I don't know, it's just a really good time. And there are a lot of modes too. I mostly just talked about the Mario Party mode, but there's like this weird flight school mode where you have to like use the Joy-Cons as like wings, and you can actually like flap to go higher, and like it's like this whole like pilot school thing. There's also like a mode called Rhythm Kitchen, which is like a rhythm game as well built into this. So there's all kinds of different modes as well you can experience. And that's not to say anything about the online modes where you can do like the what was it, like the 100-player mode or something, which is interesting, right? Like, because that's like they frame that as like a triathlon or like a marathon or something.
It's a battle royale
where you're running, and depending on how many coins you get, that's how far you run. So whoever completes like 3 laps around first wins. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and there's like another kind of 8-player mode, or there's another kind of like non-traditional Mario Party mode in there that I haven't even tried yet. So there's all sorts of stuff crammed into this game, but the traditional Mario Party experience, which is what I mostly did, has never been better. So a lot of fun, very fun game. That's all I got to say.
I might have to check that out. I played a bunch of Helldivers too, but I'm probably gonna talk about
maybe save that for tomorrow. Yeah. All right. Thank you all for listening. You can follow us at Podcast Game Talk on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, and YouTube. click the link in the description to join our Discord and talk to us there. And please like, rate, and review us on Spotify, SoundCloud, Apple Podcasts, or any other podcast services you use. Thank you, Connor.
Yeah, see you guys next week.
See you next week. Bye.